Hi, Monkey D. Kaiba again, and I'm going to show you in this video some more teaching of the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! This time specifically about special summoning. So, here we go.
When it comes to special summoning monsters, there's two types. There's inherent summons and there's summons by effect. Inherent summons is basically when, it's hard to describe, it's when a monster kind of just summons itself. It's, um, Whereas an effect summon is when a monster is special summoned by the effect of another card. For example, Monster Reborn is a card that special summons a monster by its effect. It's the same with special summoning a ritual monster. With Blackluster Ritual to summon Blackluster Soldier. That's an effect summon. An inherent summon would be Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. Removes a light and a dark and then just summons itself. Even though it's a cost to remove the light and the dark from play, it's still not being summoned by an effect. It's just summoning itself. It's kind of hard to describe. It's the same with Chaos Sorcerer. Cyber Dragon, in a sense, just summons itself. There's no chain. There's nothing that starts it. That's probably a better way to explain it. There's no chain. It's the same with Mechanic Fortress. With Red Eye Darkness Metal Dragon, if you were to remove a dragon to special summon it, that's an inherent summon. But if you use Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon's effect to special summon another dragon, that's a special summon by an effect. It's pretty simple, really. Just when an effect is used to special summon a monster, it's even if it's its own effect, like Battle Fate or Chagodia or Gores, it's an effect special summon. But if not, it's an inherent summon. I'll go on to explain in more situations. Okay, this is the first situation I'm going to show about how special summoning works. Or more specifically, negating it. My opponent has a light in the dark in the graveyard. He removes them both and special summons Blackluster Soldier. Envoy at the beginning. I have a Thunder King Ryo on the field and a Steel Swarm Roach. It doesn't really matter for the sake of this which one I use. Both of their effects are pretty much the same in this situation. In the sense that you remove an Exceed material to negate the special summon of a monster that's level 5 or more, or in Thunder King Ryo's case, tribute it to negate a special summon of an opponent's monster. Both of these, either of these will work. So, say I tribute him, Blackluster Soldier's destroyed. Or, not destroyed, he's negated, so he doesn't even hit the field. Okay, situation 2. My opponent has a Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning in his or her graveyard. It was special summoned by its effect normally, and it's 1 negated. My opponent activates Monster Reborn to target it and special summon it back. Now, despite the fact that it was a special summon monster, I cannot use Thunder King Ryo or Steel Swarm Roach's effect to negate it, because it wasn't an inherent summon, it was summoned by the effect of Monster Reborn. So I cannot negate it. It'll only work on inherent summons. Okay, my opponent, this is situation 3. My opponent has removed a light in the dark from the graveyard and special summons Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. I have a Solemn Judgment and a Solemn Warning face down. Both of these are perfectly usable. Solemn Judgment can only be used to negate the special summon of inherent summons, so I can use it. Solemn Warning, it has 2 effects, essentially. It can negate the special summon of a monster, or it can negate the effect that would special summon a monster. The effect that it negates special summoning a monster, again, only works with inherent summons. Although Solemn Warning, usually it doesn't matter, because most effects that would summon a monster, it would negate anyway with its other effect by negating the effect of something that would special summon a monster. So both of these are perfectly usable against the summoning of a BLS. Okay, situation 4. My opponent has a light in the dark in the graveyard, and he removes them to special summon Blackluster Soldier. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, is an inherent summon. I cannot chain to his summon with a DD crew and remove a light or the dark to stop it. It doesn't target, it's not a cost or anything like that. It's just a summon. Summons can't be chained to. It's the same with Max C. Just because he removes a light in the dark doesn't mean I can discard or send Max C to the graveyard and expect to draw a card. I can only respond with Max C after Blackluster Soldier was summoned, not halfway through. Okay, this is situation 5. I have a Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning on my side of the field, and a Solemn Judgment and a Solemn Warning. I attack directly, and assuming on whether he lets the attack go through, he can summon Battle Fader, Gores, and Tragodia. Not all at the same time, obviously, but these are the examples I am using. The point is, I cannot activate Solemn Judgment in response to any of these summons because these are not inherent summons. These are summons that activate via their own effects. So I cannot activate Solemn Judgment. I cannot activate Bottomless or Torrential either for that matter because only counter traps can be activated in the damage step unless it applies to altering the battle situation. Now, Solemn Warning, on the other hand, because its effect allows it to be activated in response to the effect of a card, special summoning, it can, however, be used against Tragodia, Gores, or Battle Fader. Solemn Judgment, however, cannot. Okay, situation 6. I have a Solemn Judgment and a Solemn Warning face down. My opponent activates Monster Reborn and targets, well, whatever he wants. Gores, probably. Now, well, assuming this is during when he targets the monster in the graveyard. Solemn Judgment can activate in response to Monster Reborn because Monster Reborn is a spell, and Solemn Judgment can negate spells, traps, as well as the summoning of monsters. Solemn Warning can be activated in response to Monster Reborn because Monster Reborn is a card that can special summon or special summons a monster. However, once Gores is on the field, neither of these can be activated because then it's not an inherent summon, and Solemn Warning's effect, where it negates the summoning of a monster, again only works on inherent summons. Same with Judgment. Both, however, can be activated in response to Monster Reborn's activation, but not when the monster itself is summoned. Finally, situation 8. I have a Thunder King around the field, and my opponent will pretend has a elemental hero monster. Okay, he activates his face down card, which is a super polymerization. Now, super polymerization cannot be you cannot respond to super polymerization, even with a counter trap card like Solemn Judgment or Solemn Warning. So, say he fuses his elemental hero and my monster and special summons a Shining. Now, at that point, again, Solemn Judgment cannot activate because it's not an inherent summon once the monster's been summoned. It's the same with Warning. Both of these would, however, work in response to super polymerization being activated, but it doesn't because of the wording of super polymerization, where it says spells, traps, and card effects cannot be activated in response to it. However, if it didn't say that, both of them would be able to work on super poly, but not the special summoning of the monster. So that's all I have to say on special summoning. Thanks again. Comment, rate, subscribe.